Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the JD Rucker Show. If you are watching the evening show, which starts at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, then awesome. If you're watching the daytime show, which starts at various times depending on what's happening in the news, then that's awesome as well. But either way, you should find me wherever you want to find me, whatever platforms you use, Rumble, X, YouTube, BitChute, all the various networks, all the various areas where the show's broadcast. You can find all those, plus my websites, plus my socials, and even my sponsors. You can go to jdrucker.com/find, jdrucker.com/find. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. You're listening to the JD Rucker Show. Let's begin. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the JD Rucker Show. It's been one heck of a day. You know, I had promised in the earlier show, and I did, for those who don't know, I did an earlier show, a daytime show, to see how it would go. Numbers weren't very good, I'll admit. But hey, you know, we're trying a new time, and of course we are doing the 9 p.m. show, But as I noted in the earlier show, I was going to be doing a whole bunch of research on this whole Tesla complaint thing, right? Complaint, that's an easy, crazy way to put it. Domestic terrorism is what it is in many cases, and it's mostly manufactured, it appears, but there is some insanity involved. As a result of doing all this, I inadvertently went so far, so deep into my research of this that I didn't leave myself actually enough time to put together a show. I apologize for that. Hopefully, Lord willing, we will be able to see the results of my research during tomorrow's show. But in the meantime, we are going to go ahead and have a show that's doesn't go into too many details. I will say this, though. If you've been paying attention, we know a few things for certain. Number one, obviously, there's like 27 or 28 organizations that are paying for these protests. They are taking people and somehow getting them money, okay? And they're filtering it through various means, which some of the stuff that I was able to discover is just absolutely horrendous. And we'll get into that, again, probably tomorrow. But and when I say horrendous, it's not illegal. Here's the crazy part, is that none of it so far has just been glaringly illegal. It's just they're paying people to, and they're doing it in a very careful way, paying people to show up, hold signs, scream, protest, as they are lawfully, constitutionally allowed to do, and then that's it. And that's why you'll notice, it's kind of funny, you see at these events, if you've ever gone to like a protest or anything like that, you know, I used to go to Tea Party protests, for example, and they'd be scheduled from like noon to 2, right? And then at 2 o'clock, it would end up just still going. Sometimes we'd be going until 3 or 4, still protesting. It was scheduled for that time, but nobody, you know, very few people ever left. Or sometimes maybe after the scheduled time, we just hang out and meet people, network. Well, if you ever watch these Tesla protests, if it's scheduled from 12 to 2, at 2:01, it's empty. They're gone. They clock out, and it's like, hey, I have done my required amount, geolocated on my phone. It shows that I was here from 12 to 2, and that's what I'm getting paid to do. And then the signs, they're recycled or dropped off wherever. It's clearly manufactured. And the question is why, and there's a lot of reasons why, and that's really what tomorrow's show is going to be about. It's what tonight's show was supposed to be about. The why behind it. This isn't just a matter of, hey, let's catch them doing manufactured things from the globalists or the deep state or both. No, it's a question of why is this so important? And there are some obvious easy answers. They're trying to drive down Tesla stocks and intimidate Tesla owners. And they're trying to make it to where Elon Musk is harmed as a result, but it actually goes deeper than that. This really is about Doge, but it's also about Donald Trump. It's also about this administration in general. There's a lot of distraction involved. And then there is tapping into the evil, tapping into the satanic, the demonic, if you will. This is why, do I think that they're paying people to go out there and key swastikas into Cybertrucks? No, I don't think they're paying them directly for that. But they are getting people to do that as a result of what they are paying them to do with their legal quote-unquote protests, these manufactured events at these Tesla dealerships. You've got legacy media involved. You've got Democrat politicians involved. You have bureaucrats out the wazoo all involved. And they're really tapping into this evil, this, I don't want to say possessed, okay? That's the wrong way to put it. There's a spirit of chaos and discontent. And we can see that very clearly. We can see that in the way, hold on, sorry. Let me just turn that off so that you don't have to hear that. We can see that very clearly in, when these people are confronted. There's this one gentleman who he basically, oh man. I mean, you would have thought that this was just a normal average guy, blah, blah, blah. And no. He tried to mark up a man's Cybertruck or some Tesla vehicle with a swastika. And of course, the police were called and they were able to locate him thanks to Facebook of all places. You often hear of 4chan or Reddit or sometimes even X being used to find people, but this is the first time I've ever heard of Facebook being used to find something. It's probably more common than I know, but then again, I never use Facebook. And if you're watching me on Facebook, welcome. But you should probably go find me on X or Rumble instead, since I really never use Facebook. With that said, let's play that. Let's just play this guy. Where did I put it?
Free service.
Free service? How about you pay for the repairs? Write a check. You just bought a Tesla.
I can wipe it off
with
a towel.
No,
it's not.
No, it is a hate crime, sir. It is a hate crime. Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently, it doesn't work.
Did you write a swastika on the? It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
Is it a swastika?
I was probably putting my keys in my pocket.
Is it a swastika?
Have you looked at your car? Is there a key mark?
Yes. Is it a swastika?
That's impossible.
It's at the police right now. It's being fingerprinted.
What do you mean it's being fingerprinted?
Because they're trying to track you down. Thankfully, Facebook tracked you down. So your business, your freaking livelihood, everything now.
Listen,
because you chose to write so to tell Facebook that you're sorry for writing a swastika on a Tesla.
Listen, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
And I apologize.
For what?
I have nothing against your car, and I have nothing against you.
So why would you write a swastika on a Tesla?
Obviously, I have something against Elon Musk, but that's not the
way
to show
So Elon Musk owns that car? Because it was bought and paid for. It was bought and paid for a long time ago.
That's why it's misguided, and obviously, I did not intend to do this.
All right, we're going to wait for
the police. That's who he was waiting on. The video cut off there, but you know what was coming up next. Yes, the law enforcement. They were called. They were told they were fingerprinting the Tesla. And now this gentleman was able to find the alleged perpetrator by going to Facebook. And he's got it on video. The guy basically acknowledging it now. Sorry. Who needs fingerprints? He's saying, yeah, sorry, I'll wipe it off. What an idiot. But the point I'm trying to make here, and what I'm discovering in my research, is that like these people that are out there at the protests, fine. Paid, manufactured, 30%, 60%, 90%, I don't know. A good chunk of the people that are there to just see the protests and hope that some leftist idiots will join them, right? Because not all of them are paid. Some of them aren't, apparently. Some of them actually think, oh my gosh, let's go stop Elon Musk from making the government more efficient. Let's go attack a Tesla. Whatever. Give me a break. But as far as these individuals that are out there, these are useful idiots. And when I say idiots, they put the I in idiots. I mean, they are truly idiots. Because let's face it, if you're going to damage a car up close and personal with a key, why would you do it to a Tesla that records you? I mean, do these people not realize they're being recorded? Apparently not, unless they're just so stupid they want to get caught. And we are seeing people getting caught. It's great. It's wonderful. But not all of them are so careless. There was a video of one gentleman. I don't have it, unfortunately, but there's a video of a gentleman who that I saw earlier today during my research, where he was wearing full like ninja style, full black, only a sliver of his eyes. He's casing the joint, casing his house at like 3 a.m. He brings over like stickers to like cover up cameras, and vandalizes a Cybertruck and tries to throw a cinder block through it. Of course, it's a Cybertruck, so apparently the cinder block didn't fully work, didn't bust the windshield. But yeah, the point is that there was massive damage done. And the owner was like, look, he didn't get all the cameras. We got some of it on camera. Police are looking into it. If anybody has any information, I'll pay $25,000. So, internet sleuths, go find this guy. Point is that there is this unhinged degree, and we're used to leftists being unhinged, of course, but not like this. This doesn't make any sense. This has abandoned all logic, where people are putting themselves at risk, putting their families at risk. There was this gentleman who was a father, of a young child, who decided that it was in somebody's best interests for him to vandalize a disabled girl's vehicle. And now he's going to be it seems that there's no court case, no verdict yet, but if the charges stick, if his arrest sticks, then this guy's going to be away from his daughter for months, if not years, because he decided that he wants to somehow protest against people who bought Teslas. These are people, many of whom are Democrats and leftists. Many of them don't even like Elon Musk, but they were told, hey, years ago, before Elon Musk went all red pill MAGA, they were told years ago, this guy's trying to save the world. This guy's a genius. He's making electric vehicles. We've got to save the planet because it's going to burn up in 8.5 years if we don't go buy a Tesla now. And now these people are like, look, I voted for Kamala. I voted for Joe. I hate Trump. Why are you destroying my property? Especially considering that the property that's being destroyed doesn't even affect Elon Musk. He's already sold the vehicle. Okay, they're not destroying Tesla property. They're destroying their fellow Democrat leftist neighbors and their property. It's the stupidest thing. Which is why I'm pretty certain that this is, again, I don't want to call it demonic possession. What I'm saying is that there's a spirit of malcontent. There is this spirit of lawlessness that has taken over so many of these people. You saw that guy, okay? I mean, was that guy weird? Yeah, definitely weird. Definitely, but not the kind of guy where you're like, oh yeah, that guy's totally gonna like put swastika. Maybe you saw it. I didn't see it. I wouldn't have picked him out as, oh yeah, there's a swastika vandalizing domestic terrorist guy. I mean, the guy seemed weak. He was weak. He is weak. And you might say, well, you don't need strength to vandalize. No, but you do have to have a certain gumption. Okay? There has to be something that drives you to take a vandalizing, violent action against somebody else's property. We're also seeing a whole lot of leftists out there today, a whole bunch of them, that are now, after saying for years that everything is violence, words are violence, using the wrong pronoun, that's violence. And now these same people are coming out and saying, yeah, putting bullet holes in Tesla dealerships, firebombing Tesla dealerships, destroying private property, destroying people's Tesla vehicles, that's not violence. That's a totally valid form of protest. I was doing hours of research, and that's why, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do this full show, this full episode as I had intended on doing on this subject, because there's just so much of it. I had no idea how deep the rabbit hole was that I was diving into. I say, Lord willing, I'll be talking about it tomorrow. That might not be the case. This might be the biggest story out there right now. But here's the thing, and this is the part that really why I have to do deeper and deeper research. This might also be the biggest distraction from other bigger stories. You might be like, well, what other bigger stories are there? Exactly. What are we missing? I mean, right now, we're on the verge, it appears. We're on the verge of going to war with Iran. And I don't know how many people even know that. You go to Fox News, you go to CNN, they're like, yeah, more bombing of the Houthis, more saber rattling with Iran. No, it's far beyond that. Okay. President Trump and Pete Hegseth and our military, we are currently in the process of decimating the Houthis. This isn't just like, let's send a quick drone strike. No, they're hitting them. And President Trump even said today that if Iran doesn't come to the table to sign a new nuclear deal, that he's going to bomb Iran as well. Folks, this is big news. And it's barely getting covered by anybody, which is odd considering that we just had Signalgate talking about bombing the Houthis. Everything seems, not trying to get conspiratorial, but it feels as if we're getting it. If I had to make a guess as to what this feels like, and I'm a facts guy, not a feelings guy, but in this case, the facts are so convoluted that I have to go with feelings at least a little bit. What this feels like is as if the globalist elite cabal, kind of after getting smacked down following the election, during the election, and then following the election, and then seeing that President Trump was going to do exactly what President Trump is doing, which is a far cry from what he did during his first administration, they were a little bit shell-shocked, but now they're starting to get their feet underneath them, and they're starting to manipulate the situations with Tesla, with the economy, with Bitcoin and gold and the stock market. With food, we're seeing more, just when egg prices are going down another 200,000 something or another, was it chickens or eggs or I was scanning through it. Bottles, serving, something, I don't know. A lot of bottled eggs were going bad, and other aspects of our food infrastructure are being attacked. We're seeing more and more and more. It seems as if every single executive order that President Trump puts out there gets challenged, and then some San Francisco judge or Seattle judge or Boston judge comes out and says, nope, you can't do that. Meanwhile, you have a lot of people, thankfully, that are out there trying to, and when I say a lot of people, I'm talking specifically about Republican lawmakers that are trying to figure out a way to stop this, to stop the lawfare. I mean, why is it that we have, 700 presidents, approximately 700 district federal judges out there who apparently have the ability to completely stop the actions of the executive branch of the United States? The president of the United States of America can't do anything without the approval of these local district judges and federal judges. Give me a break. Okay, nationwide injunctions. I used to be in favor of them. I mean, as recently as a couple of months ago, probably a couple of weeks ago, I think I said, look, this is a powerful tool. It's very useful. It makes it to where we, the people, have the easiest way to go after, for example, presidents. If they are doing wrong, if there's tyranny, we need to have an outlet. And it seems as if the judiciary is the best way to do it, but they've taken it so far overboard that now look, fine. Let's end judicial overreach altogether. Let's make it to where they cannot determine the direction of a nation based upon a signature of some random dude in Wisconsin. Speaking of Wisconsin, big election tomorrow. This election is going to determine a whole bunch. For those who don't know, it is huge. Okay, Brad Schimmel must win, because if he doesn't, the Republican Party is going to lose at least 2 seats. Because they are going to redistrict in a way that is going to flip 2 seats. So that's technically a 4-seat flip. Okay. 2 seats gone. Democrat forever. And that's something that we're already having enough challenges with voter fraud, misinformation, disinformation, legacy media, deep state, globalist elite cabal, uniparty swamp, all having so much influence over our elections and making it nearly impossible for us to win. Praise God that the nearly impossible was proven to be easy during the 2024 election, but we can't expect that to repeat every single time. So every congressional seat, every Senate seat matters. Tomorrow's election for Supreme Court of Wisconsin will determine a whole lot it will have a direct effect, a direct impact on us, the entire nation, not just the people of Wisconsin. So keep that in mind. With that said, because of my massive research that I had to do today, I've got one story, just one story, and then I'm going to replay the stories from this morning. I apologize. I miscalculated. I did my standard amount of research, but trying to do that for 2 shows instead of 1, turned out I just didn't time it out properly. So for those who watched this morning's show, appreciate you. You can stay and watch this segment on Kid Rock. And then after that, it's going to be a replay of today's show. Now, if you didn't watch this morning's show, please stay, because there's some great stories here. Okay, even though they are from this morning, they're still very valid. All of them are very valid. Marine Le Pen, we've got a whole lot of good stories that you need to hear. So if you did not watch this morning, then please watch the entire show and be sure to subscribe and all that good stuff now. Tomorrow we will try to get back on track and actually do 2 full shows for the day, which is the intention that I want to be able to do at least Monday through Friday, if not on the weekends as well. We are pushing forward as best we can. I've been hoping, just seeing if we can't either clone me or clone my wife or clone both of us or extend the day to about 32, 33 hours. That'd be enough. Maybe 34, 35, maybe 50 hours a day. That would make it a lot easier to get everything I need to get done. But that's probably not going to happen. Probably not. So anyway, let's do a quick break, and then we will get into the stories. And again, if you haven't seen, if you did watch this morning, then at least stay for the next segment, because the next segment is fresh and new. But if you did not watch this morning, then watch the entire show, and you'll be blessed, Lord willing, as a result of it. So stay tuned. Former CIA analyst Jim Rickards has built a reputation over the decades, really, of being able to read the writing on the wall and make determinations, make predictions. Some of them are going to be right around the corner, others are going to be further down the road, but either way, he's usually right. It's very uncanny how good he is at this stuff, his latest analysis, which you can find for yourself at jdrucker.com/crisis, jdrucker.com/crisis. His latest analysis surrounds President Trump's tariffs. Now, they have been, in my humble opinion, wildly successful so far. They've been able to make certain things happen that I think a lot of people didn't think were possible. And of course, they have a dramatic potential revenue generating effect for the United States of America. But with that said, there are certain risks, certain challenges, and it's not just going to come from China or Canada or Mexico or Colombia or wherever. According to Rickards, he thinks that the biggest threat sits right in the heart of New York City. Crazy stuff. And he thinks that there are things that we need to do as American citizens to prepare, because things are already in motion. According to Rickards, this next major event, which will happen, according to his prediction, between now and April 11th, 2025, something that we should pay attention to. So go and check out his latest prediction, jdrucker.com/crisis. See if there's something there for you to gain from and to potentially prepare for, because the world is changing. For us, it seems as if it's changing very much for the better. But there are going to be certain challenges, certain risks. And I think being prepared for those challenges, being prepared for those risks, that's the difference between thriving or just making it by. Kid Rock wore the perfect outfit to the White House for the signing of an executive order going after those who are reselling tickets for exuberant prices. Apparently, and I didn't know this, I'll admit, maybe it's been a few years since I've gone to a concert myself, but apparently, thanks to modern technology, a lot of these companies and groups and even individuals are going out there utilizing bots, buying up a whole bunch of tickets, and then reselling them on the reselling ticket market, I guess eBay, I don't know, Amazon or whatever, selling these tickets for a humongous profit. And President Trump is going to go after it. But the thing that got my attention was Kid Rock's outfit.
course, sir. So this is an executive order, as you said, that deals with the ticket reselling business. For fans of live entertainment and for entertainers as well, the ticket reselling industry has become a huge issue. These people use bots and computer algorithms to buy up huge blocks of tickets and then jack up the price so that fans of live entertainers like Mr. Ritchie, I almost called him Mr. Rock, don't have access to concerts the way that they should. And when they do, it's at exorbitantly high prices. So what this executive order does, it charges the FTC and the Department of Justice with rigorously enforcing laws on the books in collaboration with state attorneys general that have power over consumer protection and other people who have the power to really crack down on this issue so that entertainers and fans won't be subject to these abusive and oftentimes illegal practices.
Good. Thank you very much.
I love it. That outfit matches Kid Rock's personality perfectly, of course. And hey, you know, if there's an opportunity here to save consumers money, to not add more laws to the books, which I'm obviously against, but to just enforce the laws that are already on the books, I see nothing wrong with this, and I want that outfit. Victor Davis Hanson reveals the fatal flaw when it comes to California's economic policy making. It's really simple. The people that are making the policies are all rich and insulated. Watch.
Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, Kamala Harris, Jerry Brown, Gavin Newsom. They're all from the same place. They're all from the same class. They're all very wealthy. They all have estates. Kevin's living in a $9 million home. Jerry's got a big Grass Valley estate. Feinstein had one of the most beautiful homes at Tahoe. Barbara Boxer's at Rancho Mirage. But their policies made sure that people where I live can't buy a house because of the regulations. It's so hard to do. Or they made sure that food is very expensive, or there's no natural gas. And because it doesn't affect them, because they have enough money, that they don't really care about the rates. They can either get their income and capital gains or get write-up, but they don't really worry about it. And then something like Los Angeles happens. And now that everybody's dumbfounded. Oh my God, I'm not insulated from this. No, you're not.
Now, I'm going to disagree with him a little bit there. He says, oh, you know, they're realizing that they're not insulated. Why? Just because Malibu was on the list of places to get burned, Pacific Palisades, that's fine. They are insulated, they being the rich politicians in California. Why? Because none of them were actually affected. None of them. Yeah, even and if they were, let's say their Nancy Pelosi's house burned down, you really think that she's going to be like waiting for FEMA to come help her or anything like that? No, she'll be just fine. And I'm not against the rich. I'm just suggesting that if you're going to make policies that directly affect the middle class, that directly affect the poor, you should probably get the input from, I don't know, the middle class and the poor. Bill Maher and Maureen Dowd lament that the Democrat Party is still being controlled by the radical left, the progressive wokesters out there. They are correct, and on one hand, we can cheer that on as patriotic, freedom-loving Americans, but on the other hand, we have to be careful. Let's first start, though, with what they were saying.
They just stopped being any fun. I mean, they made everyone feel that everything they said and did and every word was wrong. And people don't want to live like that, feeling that everything they do is wrong.
No. You think we're over that era? Do you think that?
No, I think,
right.
I mean, I think Democrats are just in a coma. They haven't figured out.
Right. But no, the woke are not giving up on that. I mean, we the Seven Dwarves movie just came out.
Oh, right.
And
there are no dwarves, right?
They thought about the dwarves. It's so funny. This is again one of my big problems with progressives. They're so stupid so often about things that they find their way back to something that's very unprogressive. Like you think getting jobs for people, very progressive. Not if you're a dwarf, because like there are dwarves out there who wanted to play these parts who couldn't because it was somehow politically incorrect to portray dwarves as, I don't know, minors who know Snow White. It's a crazy character that somebody invented for children, and you're arguing about whether it's right if real dwarves play dwarves. There are dwarves in the world, and there are jobs for them that you lost on there. And then Snow White loves Palestine. Like, I wasn't going to see this movie anyway, but that people who get their news from TikTok, just please shut the up.
It was, I think the Democrats just got to have a suffocating persona where you just couldn't do anything or say anything that wasn't to be criticized.
Somebody once wrote, "The politics of purity makes people stupid and mean."
Was that you?
It was you, fool.
Oh.
Whoops. Very nice. But again, we can say, yeah, just let them keep making fools of themselves. But we have to be very careful. We still have to educate the people around us. We still have to make sure that if anybody starts saying, oh, wow, that sounds like it's a good idea, or wow, maybe we do need to be more diverse and equitable and inclusive, we need to just wake them up, okay? Don't let them because here's the thing. We might feel like, we're immune to it, but we're not. Well, maybe you are, and I am. But many of the people around us, maybe the people that are less aware of the woke mind virus, they can get sucked into it very easily. I've seen people who are otherwise lucid and even conservative, who sort of start to see a little bit of sense in it. It can happen. So let's not just say, oh, let them make fools of themselves. Yes, we should, but not without the caveat of making sure that the people that we can influence, the people around us, don't get sucked into it. New widely shared Harvard study promoting plant-based diets omits one extremely important detail. I've learned over the years, I'm sure many of you have as well, that a good chunk of these quote-unquote scientific studies are simply propaganda.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
They're commissioned by organizations. Those organizations have agendas. The agenda is inserted into the study. They release the study, and then it's used to validate the original agenda. Rinse and repeat. This is far more prevalent than I think most people realize. And that's why this particular study, when it came out, it's been picked up across the board. I mean, pretty much every health magazine, every aging and elderly living magazine, they're all just talking about this, especially the vegans and the vegetarian promoting ones, because it's like, oh my gosh, Harvard says eat plants. Except if you actually read the study, which I did, you'll realize that it's not exactly an accurate assessment. This comes to us from Eureka Alert, the scientific organization. This, again, is a Harvard study. It comes from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. It is allegedly peer-reviewed. It's got all the stamps of approval on it. Let me read for you just the first key point, and then we'll get into the omission. Maintaining a healthy diet rich in plant-based foods with low to moderate intake of healthy animal-based foods and lower intake of ultra-processed foods, which, by the way, I agree with that aspect. Forget about the ultra-processed foods. Stop eating them altogether. Was linked to a higher likelihood of healthy aging, defined as reaching age 70, free of major chronic diseases, with cognitive, physical, and mental health maintained, according to a 30-year study of food habits among more than 105,000 middle-aged adults. It's a massive study. They studied 8 dietary patterns, and these dietary patterns have names. And these names of these dietary patterns, some of them you'll recognize, others, it's like, wow, that's a dietary pattern. I had no idea. For example, they studied Alternative Health Eating Index, the Alternative Mediterranean Index, dietary approaches to stop hypertension. That's a name. And if you're wondering why would they name it something weird like dietary approaches to stop hypertension, that's because the acronym is DASH. Well, a lot of times the scientific community works just like our government, and they like to try to come up with nifty acronyms so that it's easier to promote their agenda. Mediterranean Dash Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. Let's see, where's another good one? Empirical Data Index for Hyperinsulinemia, whatever that is. Okay, so great. So they've got these 8 studies, and according to their research, they've been able to determine which ones are better for which people. And they've determined definitively, beyond any doubt, that this plant-based diet and this plant-based diet and this plant-based diet are superior to the other diets. And that's the message. That's what's getting pushed out there by all these various health magazines and all this stuff. But the detail that was omitted is the fact that all 8 of the diets they studied are plant-based diets. In other words, there was a 0% chance, literally impossible, for a non-plant-based diet to have been declared the winner of this huge Harvard peer-reviewed study. The end goal of declaring that a plant-based diet was the healthiest was rigged. It was guaranteed. There was no chance. No matter who won, plant-based diets won. And that's the messaging that's being promoted out there. Don't eat meat. Don't eat meat. I mean, you can't make this up. Well, apparently you can. Somebody did. Somebody came up with a brilliant way to try to con people into thinking that if you don't eat meat, that somehow that's healthier. There's a rush, a gold rush, going on right now, not just by central banks, not just by entire countries, not just by those trying to refill Fort Knox before Elon Musk and President Trump get there. No, there's a gold rush happening amongst individual Americans. It's a gold and silver rush, and it's specifically attracting people of retirement, of or near, I should say, retirement age. People are starting to realize that maybe they don't need their IRAs or 401ks or whatever stuck in the stock market. Maybe they should be looking at physical precious metals like gold and silver. Now, I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to give you advice. I'm just going to tell you who to talk to if you've already made up your mind and you think maybe I should consider it. Go to jdrgold.com, jdrgold.com, or call 800-200-4653. That's 800-200-GOLD. And check out what the folks over at Genesis Gold Group can do for you. They are a faith-driven precious metals company. They don't do the scams, the cheats, the tactics, such as, offering free or bonus silver. It's never free, and it's not really a bonus. You're paying for it. They just tack it onto the price and then say, "Oh, look, here's free, here's bonus." No. It's they probably have a good role to play in government, at least the old government. I would imagine that Doge and Elon Musk would sniff out their scams. But if you want to deal with a direct and honest company to do a tax-free rollover or transfer of your IRA, go to jdrgold.com, jdrgold.com. You'll receive a free definitive wealth protection kit, plus you will be contacted by my good friends at Genesis Gold Group. Is Signalgate already dead? Did it even live in the first place? I would argue no, it did not. Vast majority of Americans never really paid any attention. They saw it, maybe they gave it 30 seconds to a minute of morbid curiosity before realizing it was a nothing burger and moving on to something that was of actual importance to their lives. Dr. Drew and White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt tend to agree. Watch.
The signal situation. And to me, it feels like we need to move on.
Yes.
That something happened.
Yeah.
Yes, something happened.
Right.
Got it. Did it cause any consequence? Are we able to move on to more substantial policy conversations? Are you having any traction moving them off of this? Or is it just, we got to get a hoax out there?
If it were up to the legacy media, they would want to stay stuck on it forever.
But why? I don't understand. As an American, I don't want that. I want the news.
It's sensationalism. Well, thank you. They are realizing that sensationalism no longer sells papers or gets you ratings.
Okay.
If you look at the ratings, we were just talking about this, you look at channel networks like CNN, which used to be the number one in cable news, their ratings are in the gutter.
Yeah.
And it's because they focus on the sensationalism. Every hour of every day they are bashing Donald Trump. That's not what America wants to hear. Look at the ratings. I always remind myself of this. CNN is like the bottom of the barrel. MSNBC has more ratings nowadays than CNN.
I
Fox
think
dominates
in this room, you get a bigger reach.
100%.
This is the new world. And the other thing I want to point out to everybody, this is all you need to run this kind of business.
Exactly.
As soon as you add that, you're adding expense you may not need.
Right.
You may not succeed.
Right.
This is the new world. That used to be in a television studio.
Yeah.
Now it's in my wife's hand.
Now it's in his wife's hands. Look, legacy media is still trying to push the narrative, whatever narrative they're being given. And that's why they're going to fail. They need to just get back to old school style. You know what? Play the video, play the report, speak the news, and then move on. Like this. A toddler was suspended by a nursery for being transphobic, proving the woke mind virus is alive and well in Great Britain. And here's the thing, it's not just Great Britain. Please don't think that just because we elected President Donald Trump that we're safe. Nothing like this could ever happen in the United States of America. Watch this and pay close attention.
A toddler was suspended from a nursery after they were accused of being transphobic or homophobic. I just cannot believe this. The Department of Education data revealed the child is either 3 or 4 years old. AD of E, a Department of Education spokesman, said all pupils and staff should feel safe. I can't believe I'm reading this. Should feel safe and protected at school and should never face violence or abuse. The Education Secretary has been clear that she expects school leaders to enforce good behaviour, and we are committed to a comprehensive programme of behaviour to support all schools. I
don't know. I do know, actually. Look, I think, and I've seen this more and more lately, we have to appreciate and understand the reality that despite election victories, despite political wins and executive orders and whatever, that we are not safe. The work is not done. Your children are not safe. Just because some of the wokeness has gone underground, a lot more of it has emerged as a result of the 2024 election. We're seeing this, of course, with the absolutely insane Tesla protests, and not just protests. We're seeing people doing crazy, crazy things. This is going to spread. This is spreading here in the United States of America. And I fear that far too many Americans have grown complacent and just, hey, you know what? I got my MAGA hat and we're good to go. Let's make America great again. We can, and I do believe we will. But it's not going to come as a result of politics. It's going to come in the trenches with you and me fighting against this rising woke mind virus. Dr. Peter Navarro says Mexico looks like the United States did during World War II, and he's absolutely right. But I would also argue that his path forward, the way that he sees the future, is going back towards more of a manufacturing and industrial nation. He is correct, but I think it's actually bigger and better than what he envisions. Let's start with his words.
Trusted Trump, we have the example from the first term. We know that we imposed historically high tariffs on China. We imposed aluminum and steel tariffs. We imposed on washing machines, on solar. And all we got out of that, Shannon, all we got out of that was prosperity and price stability. And the reason why we're not going to see inflation is because the foreigners are going to eat most of it. They have to. We're the biggest market in the world, Shannon. And they have to be here. They have to be here. And so they're going to cut their prices to absorb that. But the bigger picture here is restoring the American manufacturing base. We don't have that. We're an assembly thing. You remember, look, something called the arsenal democracy back in World War II. That was how we beat the Japanese and the Germans with our military might. When Patton went to Berlin, it was with trucks, jeeps, and tanks that were made in the auto plants of the Midwest. And right now, the only thing that looks like the Midwest back then is Mexico. You go across the diaspora of cities in Mexico, there's football field size, 50 football field size assembly plants that are down there making the engines for here. We can't do that.
Well,
the Germans and the Japanese, the South Koreans, and the Mexicans have taken our manufacturing capabilities. So we've got to get that back. And we're going to do it in a way which is going to protect American consumers and create jobs for American workers. There's going to be over 1 million new jobs created in the greater auto industry.
He's correct, but I would say that if anything, he's shooting a little bit too low. He needs to be thinking bigger. We actually have a very different opportunity than anything we've had in our past based upon the advancements in technology. Yes, we can bring manufacturing back to the United States, but it's not going to be like it was during World War II or any time in our history. We have the ability right now to truly reimagine what manufacturing looks like here in the United States of America. That means taking advantage of not only advanced technologies in the manufacturing itself, as well as, of course, the distribution, but also in what we're manufacturing. We can manufacture some amazing things, far greater than what we can get from China or Taiwan or South Korea or Mexico or anywhere else. We can build right now, today, in ways where other nations that have been industrial for so long, they're kind of stuck. They have to like sort of make advancements, incrementally, upgrade this, improve that, train more workers to do the new stuff. We can just start from the very top level. Okay, we can start manufacturing, training workers, and manufacturing new products, better products, with better systems, better distribution capabilities in a way that would make us the place where you would want to import from. Instead of everybody wanting to export their goods to us, be like, wow, those American manufacturers, their quality is so much better than anything that we can produce here. We need to get their stuff. We need to import from them. And it's not a pipe dream. Okay, this is reality. If we're building today with the idea that we're taking advantage of modern technology and modern processes, we're not hampered by what other nations would have to do in order to get to the same place. That's not even taking into account our advanced technology just inherently being the United States of America. So I would say, yes, Peter Navarro is correct. We need to get back, but we can also take it much higher. A massive percentage of Japanese corporations are expanding operations into the United States. This is, of course, due to President Trump's tariffs. But it's more than that. Let's be clear. I mean, the opportunity is abundant here in the United States of America. These Japanese corporations, they've crunched the numbers. They've done the calculus. They realize that based upon President Trump's tariffs, as well as the opportunity of an expanding American economy, it just makes sense to, at the very least, look into it. Now, it's not logistically possible for every Japanese corporation to do so, but it is a massive amount. So what are we talking about massive? Is it 5 or 10%? That'd be pretty huge. Are we looking at 15? Gosh, maybe even 20%? No.
Based on your research, it sounds like President Trump's tariffs are one of the factors here.
Yeah, Dee, they definitely play a part. A new survey from a Japan-based news agency polled executives at 144 major Japanese corporations, and around 30% said they were expanding their operations in the U.S., and another 20% said they were exploring options for expansion.
So President Trump's 25% tariffs on imported cars and car parts, that is expected to start next week. So tell us about the changes that we're actually already seeing with regards to foreign automakers making ahead of this.
Yeah, so according to a list released by the White House, which they got from reporting by Reuters, Honda will be producing its new Civic Hybrid in Indiana instead of Mexico. Also, Hyundai Motor and Stellantis have announced their plans to set up shop here too.
Just incredible. Look, if you had told me yesterday that 20%, just 20% of Japanese companies were either already moving or considering moving, the combined number, I would have been just ecstatic. For it to be 50%, 30% already moving, another 20% considering moving, that's mind-blowing. Okay, that's tremendous. And it's not like we're talking about Chinese jobs or Venezuelan jobs. These are Japanese jobs, which means there are going to be a whole bunch of high-end blue-collar jobs as well as a bunch of white-collar jobs that are coming over here hiring Americans to do this work. This is a tremendous news. And so if you have any friends or relatives that are like, oh, tariffs are going to kill the job market, just tell them these stats that you've heard today and tell them, just wait. Lawfare against conservatives in Europe may be getting as bad as it is here in the United States. As a matter of fact, as of today, it seems like it might be even worse. French nationalist politician and conservative Marine Le Pen was barred from being able to run for political office for the next 5 years and may have to spend 2 years in jail. I turn to Eva Vladimir for the update.
Okay, so the lawfare being used against right-wing politicians in Europe is being taken to a whole new level. Marine Le Pen, the leader of Rassemblement National, the populist right-wing party in France, has just been sentenced to 4 years in jail, of which 2 suspended, and has been barred from partaking in French politics for the next 5 years. That means that she's been barred from running against Macron for the position of the president of France. She's been convicted for allegedly embezzling European funds, misusing European funds for her national fraction of the party instead of the European fraction of the party, which I dare to bet money on the fact that if any judicial system in any European country would launch an investigation into left-wing parties to see if they were doing that, let's say 80% of them would be found guilty of the same thing, because I used to work in the European Parliament, and trust me, this is something that I think happens a lot more than they want you to believe. And of course, we will never know that because they don't launch investigations into left-wing parties, because the whole aim of this is to crush the right wing in Europe, because we're growing too fast. And so the system, the cabal, needs to come down on us through another way. And what do? Lawfare. They're banning us. They're banning our parties. They're banning politicians from running. They're convicting us of hate speech and hate crimes. That's how they do it. That's the new strategy. And think about it for a second. Embezzlement of European funds. Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, is under investigation for corruption because she closed a 35 billion euro deal with the CEO of Pfizer via text message. And we still don't have those text messages, but she is the president of the European Commission, and Marine Le Pen is not allowed to run as the president of France. If that is not two-tier politics, I don't know what is.
We know we've got it pretty bad here in the United States when it comes to lawfare against conservatives. President Trump suffered through so much of it during the campaign, and now that he's in office, he's seeing a whole bunch of it used against his administration. It seems like every single executive order, every action, major action taken by departments or agencies is getting challenged through the legal system. But we can at least fight back. In Europe, they're having major challenges being able to fight back. It's as if they're already taken over. It's too late. I know that many of my European friends, they'll come back and say, oh, well, I'd still rather be in Europe than in the United States. You guys are all have guns, and that's bad, and guns are bad, or whatever. I'll take my guns over your lawfare on steroids that's apparently plaguing the European Union. If there's one thing that people who are brand new to prepping often forget, it's the long-term storage meds. I think a lot of times people either forget them or they don't realize that they can acquire medications that can be held for an extended period of time. My good friends over at Jace Medical, they've got you covered, whether it's for chronic meds for illnesses that you or your family members have, whether it's antibiotics, just being ready for whatever is going to happen in the world. These are things that you should have available to you if you're going to be preparing for self-reliance in the long haul. Go to jdrucker.com/meds, jdrucker.com/meds. Use promo code RUCKER10, the number 10, RUCKER10 at checkout, and you get a nice discount on top of that. jdrucker.com/meds. One of the best ways to stay ahead of the deep state and to understand the machinations of the globalist elite cabal is to get information from people in the know, such as former CIA analyst Jim Rickards. Go to jdrucker.com/crisis, jdrucker.com/crisis, and see what information they have for you today. Was Signalgate a deep state op? Yes, it was. I'm about 95% sure on that one. With the other 5%, we'll leave a 0.1% chance, just a little sliver of a chance that it was an accident, because, again, I can't be 100% sure without evidence, but everything that we're seeing points to 95% chance that it was a deep state op, with about a 4.9% chance that it was separate from the deep state, a global elite cabal, or maybe some rogue operative within Mike Waltz's team, maybe even Mike Waltz himself. Who knows? But we do know that this wasn't some accident, that one of the most egregiously anti-Trump journalists in America happened to be the recipient of this lucky accident, this mistake that somebody portrayed. If you do believe that this truly was just a mistake, that nobody did anything nefarious, you probably also believed that bat soup was the root cause of COVID-19. Jason Buttrill over at The Blaze, he went on with Sarah Gonzalez and gave what I consider to be an excellent argument that it was the deep state that initiated Signalgate.
No, this is total bullcrap. Absolute bullcrap. Waltz went on, I think it was NBC also, because speculation was running wild. And conservatives were trying to rationalize this himself,
Makes
saying,
sense
oh, yeah,
to it,
this
yeah.
is bad, but maybe he clicked on the wrong name. Maybe he accidentally, it was just an accident, whatever. But he went on, like, I think it was NBC a couple days ago or yesterday, and said, look, this was a different number associated with a different contact. Then he said, we're looking into whether it was done deliberately or some other, quote, technical mean. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
That's like if I want to text you something and somehow it got changed in my phone to the plumber. And the plumber's like, why are you telling me you're going to be on my show on Wednesday?
Right.
Who are you talking about? That somebody would have had to have done that.
Yeah.
Now I look at it and say, okay, well, who? Because Signal has an interesting history, funding history. Now, their funding goes back to, I think they were called like the Open Whisper something, but they got millions of dollars from a government organization. That government organization has ties, or it's underneath Radio Free Asia. Radio Free Asia, Radio Free Europe, those are CIA Cold War weapons from the Cold War. Direct ties and manipulation with the CIA. Now, if you ask them, they're like, oh, we stopped that crap. We don't mess with USAID either. You know, like,
Right.
they're on their own. We don't do anything with that.
They're like, we investigated ourselves and we found that we don't do that anymore.
Right, exactly. It's like the big food and pharma thing all over again.
Yeah.
I am not buying that whatsoever. WikiLeaks came out years ago and said that their Vault 7 release said that the NSA and the intelligence community, or no, it was the CIA, had direct access into both Signal and WhatsApp. They could penetrate it. Tucker Carlson says just, a year or so ago, that the NSA went into his Signal and pulled out the messages and then contacted him. So we know you're going to have this interview with Putin. He's like, I didn't tell anybody. It was just in Signal. Come on. Look at what CIA Director Ratcliffe said. He said the day he was sworn in, the very first thing that happened was that CIA technicians came in and loaded up Signal on every single one of his apps. Tulsi Gabbard, today in front of the House, said that that's just what happens. That I think going back from what you said, CISA under the Biden administration, they recommended personally using Signal, so now they're uploaded on every. Why would the government, whose sole intention, they love snooping on all of our communications? If you believe any of the Snowden stuff, looking into like tapping into internet LAN communications, all that stuff to read all of our mail. Why would they be like, yep, that's approved, it's all good? Unless they already have a backdoor into this app or some way to penetrate it or something. That's why they mandate it. That's why it's on every single app. And now the luckiest strike in the history of luck strikes happens to one of the biggest opposition journalists, where he's like, oh, I just got added in. I have no idea. The contact was changed. I don't know. It's just, wow, it's a big mistake by the Trump administration. Bull crap.
Yep.
Don't admit that. This is not a mistake. This is the deep state at work.
95% chance that it was deep state. I think that Jason Buttrell's argument was spot on, 100% there, and ever so slight chance that it might have been somebody outside of the deep state. But everything we know about the CIA, how they operate, everything that we know about this particular chat group, the people that were in it, everything we know about how all this went down just cannot be so many coincidences. And as my viewers know, I don't believe in coincidences. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. I know that it was at least partially, apparently about half, maybe not, a little more than half of the show was a repeat from this morning, but hopefully you're watching it still. You were able to get some useful information from it. If you were, please be sure to subscribe and to thumbs up this video. Tomorrow we will be returning. Again, hopefully we're shooting for the 2 shows. I'm trying. I'm drinking more coffee from Promise Grounds. You can go to jdrucker.com/coffee. Get your Promise Grounds coffee, Christian coffee company, and I'll be drinking more of it so that I can stay up long enough to be able to do all this stuff, to be able to get out 2 good, solid, important shows every single day. Lord willing, I will return very soon with another episode. But in the meantime, you all stay strong, stay safe, and God bless.